Our last video about artists was a controversial one to say the least, but had mostly a positive reaction. With this video, we want to try to make some corrections to some of what we got wrong in our Artists Are Ruining Thief.io video, which you can watch by clicking here. Regarding reskin votes, we had a massive misunderstanding with our sources that ended up invalidating a few of the worries we had regarding reskins like the Queensland Shark reskin, as explained by Proborsky in a comment left on the video. Artists do indeed vote on reskins, needing half of all the artists to vote, with 80% needing to vote yes for the reskin to pass. As it turns out, the way this is being abused is not that reskins go through immediately upon the artist's suggestions. Instead, artists use this system to add skins to animals that aren't being considered for the batch. For example, if a batch is meant to focus on shark, giant squid, orca, then a reskin can be squeezed into the batch and applied to whatever animal it's reskinning. That being said, this ends the corrections portion of the video. Artists using reskins to replace skins instead of improving them, ignoring the community, inventing animals, and exploiting their skin voting system was not denied as far as we know. Congratulations, GGZ. You have brought him into this world. We do not doubt you are correct about your position. However, you are GGZ, and as such we are forced to ignore said suggestions. We will consider improving the game when it's not incels making these suggestions. Our kind response to your unorthodox kind. We await your next documentary we will totally take seriously. Also, please shall Harmony or GGEZ once again use an argument that is based upon realism? They suddenly care about realism. GGEZ made this video to shit on artists. They don't care about the game. Stop buying into their shit. You're probably right, let's be real here. But I don't want to discuss the fact that GGEZ made the video and rather discuss the points they made. Who GGEZ is as a group doesn't weaken their argument. GGEZ has valid arguments against stat changers, but that's only because they took the arguments of people who had valid reasons. Takoko expects us to take him seriously and not GGEZ when they bring up valid, if stolen points, while he's calling them lizard Nazi Mormon cyborgs from Mars. Morty sounds like a nerd, no offense.
Offense taken! Offense taken.
To begin with, what Shin Godzilla might not realize is that we've been arguing against stat changers and reskins since the Ross Orca reskin. There is a paper trail leading back to September of 2022 where Harmony was in a GC with myself, SG, and Lieutenant all talking about size changers and biome changers and why Harmony needs a say in their inclusion. In fact, if we want to get even more technical, the entire idea for CrabNet as a group was suggested in a Deepcore mod application written by SG and Cool Guy for an alt they called Goro. I put down things like map maker competitions, more community competitions like Scribble and Jackbox, Spanish general chat, map maker board, balance team. This is what Knack had put, which I found really fucking surprising. Staff responses application? This is such a good application. He looked at history and also the man has good modification. Definitely one, but it makes me worried. And just so if we bring this up in the future, we are concerned with extreme skins being allowed in custom maps, as it will affect players on custom maps should they ever be utilized. Just in case Shin hears this argument and thinks we stole it from somewhere else. For their actual response to our video, what they decided to do was revel amongst themselves about our misinformation, such as size changers not being considered stat changers. They also included size changers, which shouldn't be included together, because people would think there's like 50 stat changers. Size changers should count. I wouldn't say that, more than just being ill-informed and including size changers and stat changers. 23 to 25 biome changing skins, not 133. You could count scale changers too, but in my opinion they're not so terrible. We do care. So far there's no balance breaking biome changers added to the game. If a stat changer turned out to be game breaking, we would force the artist to update the skin. Also, honestly, it's very easy to accuse some people of being careless towards the game if they don't think biome changers are an issue, or at least yet are they an issue. The latest patch only added 2 stat changers, and we actually barely added them because we had a dispute over them in artistry, Yes, artists actually care so that we don't get GS or CS stat changers. The definition we gave for SCS was a skin that changed the size, attributes, or biome. Using this definition, we were making the point that any skin which changes these three facets of an animal are having a negative impact on the game and its player base. Arguing that size changers aren't stat changing skins, even though they are, does not refute the point being made. Making an animal larger or smaller can give it an advantage, which was clearly pointed out in our video, but ignored by the artist responding to our video. The same way we will recover from this video. It didn't change anything. There were claims as well surrounding the joke we made about Grand Guardian's reskins, mainly that one of the reskins mentioned were listed in the release slides. Of course, we said that in the video, and this skin was just used as an example of reskins listed in that batch, irrelevant to the fact that none of Grand's skins were listed in the batch. Even in our own script, you can read that we said Biogiant Squid was in the batch. Again, a weird and pointless hill to die on. Yet both of these instances are incomparable to their primary attempt at discrediting us, calling us racist. Okay, do you fuck! Hiccup voice. Dragons. Dragons. Okay, do you legit enjoy going to a game where the most activity that happens is teaming and slur spamming? I legit enjoy the gameplay. If you don't want that, then turn the chat off, lol. This is GG Easy mentality.
Not to mention some Harmony members being racist. Only the most racist people should get approved. You have to show a video or a screenshot of you being racist to an ethnic minority. They do have quite a lot of racist people who got banned at one point. They should make being racist obligatory to be in Harmony for real. Me on my way to be the only non-racist Harmony member.
Artyści psują tą grę, twierdzi stowarzyszenie GGeasy, krótko po czym zaczyna teamować I spamować N słowo.
We will consider these suggestions when it's not racist and homophobe suggesting them, thanks. I know I've made a generalization, but it's not so far off. Many of the Harmony's members come from clan. They have a culture of being racist, and since they sit there, they soak with it. You can send these messages to your clan. 1 or 2 years of sitting in such environment changes you a lot.
Hecho por las personas que siguen a streamers nazis. Causan raids y expande slurs masivo. ¿Quién lo está arruinando más? Ellos, y honestamente ellos han cometido algunos fallos muy graves. No me puedo creer que pensaran que los artistas podían añadir reskins sin ningún voto.
Anyways, I suppose I should finish my Harmony application. All I need to do is get 2 new infographics along with my old ones. And also be the only Harmony Guild member not to be racist.
Dürüst olmam gerekirse tanıdığım bazı dengeleme değişikliği grubu üyeleri ırkçı sayılabilir. Yani bu dengeleme grubunun ırkçı olduğunu söylemek yanlış olmazdı. Lieutenant, soll ich dir deine transphobischen Nachrichten zeigen?
This all comes off as kind of surreal considering that prior to the making of this video, their slides on the spring batch has a video which repeatedly says this word.
¡Qué asco! Sí, me repugna, qué mala suerte. ¡Asco! Sí, me repugna, qué mala suerte.
Maricón.
I'm kind of retarded.
Official message from the artist. This is our response to your video. We would love if you made a half-assed documentary about this response too. Then he's saying about my comment, if custom servers are ever utilized beyond dead TFFA maps, what do you think they'll do with the more extreme skins like this one and the large whale skin? And then he said, we will add this skin next, which is the Kekistan skin. Continue to take us seriously. We hate it. We would hate if you made another video. He really wants us to make another video.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Acute viewers will notice that a few characters keep reappearing in this story. One such being Takoko, who we've called the spokesperson of artistry in the past. Someone who admittedly calls people he doesn't like Nazis.
The fish game Nazi party? How could I be so blind?
By Nazis, I mean just stupid people in general, and yes, teens can be incels.
Calling stupid people Nazis should be harassment if it isn't already.
Keeps a list of people who've gotten banned in Deepcore by artists, and has acknowledged that his own categorization of Nazi is flimsy.
I like how he keeps a list like it's a badge of honor getting a 12-year-old banned.
I don't know why he got banned, I just know he did. And also just ignore whatever I categorize people as.
I'm not going to ignore you calling people Nazis. If they're not Nazis, then don't call them Nazis.
Yet the other artists still defend him for this. Takoko is highly sarcastic with things he says, but honestly, there was nothing stopping the people to give feedback to the artist before the skins made their way to the game. And to be honest, without disrespect, but Harmony doesn't have the best history with having racist and homophobic people inside the guild, and the people getting mutes and bans for the same reason. Which isn't the least surprising because just like Takoko, when something doesn't go their way, they blame someone else. Depressing and sad. But you also said it was an eyesore. Make up your mind. You are shitting on me for the sake of it. I've always said I don't like how Takoko PD looks. Wow, great feedback. I don't like the watercolor, I can say that. I personally thought the color scheme was pretty nice. In Mapmaker it looks cool. In game it looks downvote. And anyways, you should have told me this, I don't know, like 1 year ago when the goddamn map got added, instead of calling it shit every fucking day. I'm not listening to pricks like you now anyways. Cartography is the most toxic guild. Corruption and below, exposing the corruption and the people behind it. This file is just for informative purposes. Don't misinterpret any of the stuff here. I am not responsible for anything you do, nor am I doing this to benefit me, and even if I did realistically, I would just get empty hands. This is probably the last major thing I'm doing for the community. The Corruption and Below by Takoko, exposing the corruption and their supporters behind the update. Case 3, completely ignoring the community. I don't need visual proof for this. Every person that made the new concepts was either in the Crabnet or was informed by someone on the Crabnet. Only 4 concepts were made outside of the Crabnet. Parafish, JSC, Frenchhead, Beluga out of the 14 new concepts. Every time I bring up something that contradicts artists' beliefs, they just bring up the fact that I am ableist because I find dark humor funny. Artists are ruining the game. I will say this whilst going around teaming on everyone. Megalon also has this neutral let's see thing going on, but honestly there's nothing to see. It's obvious stat changes will die and decline, less freedom for artists. Also, he's keen on realism, so why doesn't he protest against voting for size changes? The only reason why size scale exists is because artists care about realism. My face when they don't want to accept deep gar. They made themselves in charge of voting for stat changes without asking artistry. LOL. And guess what? Like 70% of stat changers got rejected. Corruption and Below. And they also reject size changers, so that's a cool info. I don't even understand the point of this, except having more power. Everything was fine before. Artists did a fairly good job at adding stat changers. There's some mistakes, but honestly nothing large. And usually the artists just talk to each other to change stuff. So unironically, I don't recommend making stat changers. It's even harder to get them in now. Waste of your time. They killed them. Harmony doesn't care about realism. Thank you for watching another one of these. This one read more like a hit piece rather than a short video essay. Please don't send hate to anyone mentioned in the video, but absolutely voice your opinion on the state of the game. the guilds, and the direction in which the community is heading. Federico Mouse is back from his break, and it seems like there will be a mini update for Swamp. So now is the time to make changes. Be sure to like and sub.